Welcome, everybody, to the Single and Stiletto Show. I'm Suzanne Oshima, and I'm a dating and relationship coach and founder of Dream Bachelor and Bachelorette, and also of Single and Stilettos. Today, we have on our show Iris Benrubi, and she's a relationship coach. And today, we're talking about how to find love. And I know, ladies, you want to know how to find love, and Iris is going to tell you her best tips on this. So, before we jump into it, though, Iris, I would love for you to tell our audience a little bit about you and what made you become a relationship coach.
Yeah, so in my past life, I was a psychotherapist, and then I went through a divorce. And that divorce really hit me hard with two young kids. And I shut down and I took care of the kids, and I had my own home and had to figure out all the little details. But really emotionally, I shut down because my heart got broken. And I was afraid to put myself out there. But after a couple years, I needed to figure out how to kick my backside out of my comfort zone and really start to date again in a way that had me feel safe, because it can be really risky. And then I realized, oh, maybe this is what I want to do for women too. So I decided to coach women on how to date, get out of their fear and their blocks, and get into a dream relationship.
Well, and because you've been through it, you know exactly what women are going through. So it's always best when you have someone that can relate to having gone through a divorce with small children and trying to get back out there. So Iris, let's jump into it. How to find love. So give us your three best tips on how to find love.
Yeah, so the first thing that I would say for women is really important after a breakup or after a divorce is to really own your value. Because we can really get defeated, hurt, resigned when we go through some hardships with someone who may have put us down, may have ignored our needs, may have betrayed us. All kinds of things may have happened out there that really take a hardship on your value, on really knowing what you bring to relationship. So if you don't know your value, you're going to end up going after a guy that may not meet your needs, but because you're like panting, you're dog paddling, you're trying to get a relationship, just have somebody pick you. Please, me, I'm over here. Let me do whatever it is that you need. Just pick me. But when we own our value, we start to get clear on what it is that we're looking for, and then we become the chooser. And so that gives us a lot of power to come out of that anxiety and come out of our comfort zone, which is, pulled away and off the market. So if you want to get back on the market and you want to deal with the anxiety that shows up naturally for everyone, really get clear on what you have to offer a relationship.
So let me ask you a question, Iris, about that. So if let's just say a woman did come out of a heartbreak or a divorce, right, and she wants to get back out there and date, do you recommend that a woman first work on really building back up her self-confidence and self-esteem if it's really taking a hit like you were talking about?
Yeah, totally. The number one attractor for a man is confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to get into a relationship with a good man, you need to get clear on what you have to offer. You might be willing to play out there, maybe online, to have a look and see what's out there, but I would really suggest building up your confidence, because it'll be so much easier for you to interact and for you to say yes or no to a man, because you will know your value. You're not going to sell yourself short. You're not going to give yourself away. And that's really common for women. Historically, we've been taught to suppress our needs to take care of the greater good of the family, to suppress our career for our husband's career. And so this is really getting clear of, what, I have a lot to offer. X, Y, and Z. And I'm looking for a man that recognizes that. And I'm not going to get into a relationship until I find a man that recognizes what I recognize in myself.
Yeah, and I just have to add to this, because I always say this to my clients, is it's so important to work on that inner foundation first, because I liken it to a house, right? The house can look beautiful on the outside, but if the foundation is weak or isn't stable, at some point the house is going to fall apart. So it's important to build up that inner foundation of your self-confidence and self-esteem and knowing what you have to offer a man before you get out there and date. So what's your second tip?
So my second tip is to really increase your ability to trust yourself. And the way that you do that is you get connected to your intuition. Now, it's so easy in your head to argue for and against something in 10 seconds. Because we can all find the evidence that why I should go out with him, and then we can find all the evidence why I shouldn't go out with him. And our head can really play tricks on us, especially if we haven't had a great childhood or we've come out of a heartbreak. So we can start to pretend I don't need a man, or tell ourselves, this isn't such a big deal. I can live without kids. So we really want to deepen ourselves, to go down into our body. Our intuition lives in our body. So when I start to think about this man who doesn't want children, how does that feel in my body? Do I feel tension? Or do I feel expansion because it works for me? How do I feel about this man that wants to live in the city downtown? Does that feel really comfortable and I have freedom around it? Or is there a bit of a contraction, a nausea, a tingling that makes me uncomfortable? Now, each person is going to have their own ways, their body's going to respond differently. So you just want to get really clear on how does your body respond to a yes and to a no. So if you want to get clear on your nose, think about your last ex and just notice what you feel in your body. Where does the contraction happen? Is it in your chest, in your stomach, in your tummy? Do you feel it in your throat? And start to think about a really good friend, sharing with a girlfriend or maybe a family member you feel really close to. And just notice, do you have like butterflies or warmth in your chest or an opening up? That's a way to start to really get connected to our intuition. And our intuition can't turn us the wrong way. Our intuition is the right answer for us. And so my biggest suggestion, advice for women is get connected to what's right for you by connecting to your intuition.
I love that you said that, because that's so true. When you meet a new man and that you're so excited about, you literally get those butterflies in your stomach. And then when things are going wrong, it's true, you start to get that tightness wherever it is, in your chest or your stomach or your throat, and to really become aware of that. And that's a great tip. That is really fabulous.
And let me just add, and that's a great way to know whether you should go out with a man again. How do I feel around him? Am I contracting? Is there something about him that I can't put my finger on but really feels uncomfortable? And to trust yourself to say, you know what, this isn't a match for me. I wish you good luck on your search. And that's it. It's a place to have power, to know what's right for you versus to try and figure it out in your head. What's logical? He's got all the boxes, but inside I'm cringing. You really want to check in with that cringing. What is that telling you?
So now, what if, because I've heard this before where a client will say to me, I actually had no feeling either way. It wasn't like he was god awful, but I also wasn't like super excited. What if she's like in the middle? Do you think she should go out on a second or third date with him?
Absolutely, because women can actually increase their attraction to a man on a second and third dates. It's happened to lots of my clients where they said, no, I don't think so. I even had one woman where the man on the first date said, no, don't sit there, sit here. She came home and called me and she said, who does he think he is, telling me where to sit? And I went, hold on, slow down, go out on a second date, ask him why he told you to sit there. And he said, I just wanted you to sit closer to me. And she was so ready to write him off, and she's in a relationship with him. And so just, start to notice your conversations, check it out with the guy, and really give him another chance. If you're not feeling that negativity, like something creepy about him, something uncomfortable, if you're not feeling that, give it another chance, a second or a third date. And if by the third date you're not feeling that connection, then move on.
I completely agree. You and I are so aligned on that. Okay, so what's your third tip?
So my third tip is really get clear on the flags of a man who's emotionally unavailable. So a man who doesn't follow up after a date, a man who doesn't call you between dates, a man who dismisses what you feel, a man who, not at the beginning, men will tend to talk about themselves in the beginning because they're trying to impress you and they're trying to earn you, which is a good thing. But as it progresses and there's more dates, if a man's not asking you about what's going on for you, what are your interests, what do you like, then that's a flag for you to say, is he really into me, or is this just all about him? So to really get clear on these things, and as you see the flags, you address it in a very gentle way. I really love it if you would blah, blah, blah. It would make me feel taken care of. And then you get to get the information. Can he step into that and take care of you or not? And either way is fine. It just gives you the information. Do I want to invest in this relationship or not?
That is so true. And it's funny because I just did a Facebook Live about this exact thing. And it was funny because I was running late I do a Facebook Live at a certain time every week. And I was running really late because I was at a doctor's appointment. I could have easily said, sorry, you guys, I can't make it today's Facebook Live. But in my hair, my makeup was not done. I was so not camera ready. But you know what? I said, you know what? I need to show up. I made a commitment to my audience, and I told them I would be there. And this is what I had talked about. I said, if I didn't show up today, there would get to a point where you would say, if I kept doing this, that you would say, she's a flake. I don't trust her. And I said, so what does this have to do with dating? It's the same thing. If a man isn't following through on the things that he says, then watch a man's actions. Don't listen to his words. Stop making excuses for him. He's not too busy. In this day and age of technology, him not texting you for 2 days isn't, oh, but he's so busy at work. No, he can text you. He can text you.
If he's too busy, then he's not ready for a relationship.
Right. And like Iris talked about, he's emotionally unavailable, right? So these have been some awesome tips. As usual, Iris, I love interviewing you. So I know you have a free gift for the ladies.
Yes, I've got an ebook called How to Spark a Man's Desire Without Chasing Him. And that's going to be the number one mistake that women make, is that they chase a man. And what that does is it diminishes desire. It actually puts water on that fire. So if you want to create that fire, that spark, and have it really flame and expand, then you want to read this ebook for the strategies on how to spark that desire in a man.
Awesome. So ladies, if you're watching the video, just click on the link below the video. And if you're listening to the podcast, just go to singleandstilettos.com and look for Iris Benrubi's interview, and you will find a link on that page. All right, ladies, thank you for joining us on the Single and Stilettos show. Our show is available both in video format and podcast format. If you would like to view the videos, you can go to singleandstilettos.com. And if you would like to get the podcast, you can download it from iTunes. And if you would like to get our free ebook on why men disappear without a trace, you can click right here on the video, or you can go to singleandstilettos.com.